My name is Dustin Browder. I'm the lead designer on StarCraft 2, and I'm going to take you for a short tour today of the StarCraft 2 design area. Now, the StarCraft 2 team is all gathered around this one office. This is Bunker 55. And this is the heart and soul of the design team. This is where a lot of the levels get made, and this is where a lot of the great ideas that go into the multiplayer experience are crafted. Bunker 55 is also well prepared in case of the inevitable zombie apocalypse. The StarCraft 2 team is made up of veterans of the original StarCraft, of StarCraft Brood War, of Warcraft 3, and the Frozen Throne. In addition, we've hired a lot of new talent to help us finish this massive game. Designing StarCraft 2 is the biggest challenge this team has ever faced. We understand that fan expectations for this game are off the charts. We have to recapture the essence and the excellence of the original StarCraft, and at the same time, add all new ideas that have been developed by our team or by the fans over the last 11 years. We have spent years working on the multiplayer game. We have spent years working on the campaign game, and it is an effort that we are proud to stand behind and present to the world. Now that you've seen some of our area, let's go talk to some of the people that actually make the game happen.
The way that game design kind of works here at Blizzard is it's very collaborative. You know, it's really the job of the design team to pull the best ideas out of the overall development team. So a lot of times I think people get this perspective that the game designers just sit in a room and come up with these ideas. And in reality, the way it really works is the game development team comes up with ideas, be it, you know, associate artist or a senior programmer or anybody on the team. The ideas kind of really come from everywhere. And the game designers are really the ones that kind of take those ideas and figure out, do they fit within the vision of the game, and how to turn them into great gameplay and really fun game mechanics.
Yeah, well, one of the cool things in making StarCraft 2 is, you know, basically as far as the engine goes and rendering, we started from the ground up. So as opposed to taking the Warcraft 3 engine, as opposed to taking, you know, obviously something from 1998, we started from the ground up, built the entire engine specifically for StarCraft 2. The level designers that I work with, their job is basically just, they take the story of what we want to do, and as far as the entire story arc, break it down into small little bits. And from there, we plan each mission of how we're going to sell that story.
Each mission in the StarCraft 2 campaign, we really try to make sure it has its own kind of unique gameplay hook. You know, we kind of jokingly refer to it as a gimmick. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a gimmick sort of map or anything like that. But we just want to make sure that every mission has its own kind of fun puzzle element to it, or kind of fun different twist to it. So we might have a mission that, you know, is a survival mission where you have to hold out for 30 minutes. Or we might have a mission where, you know, you have to go down onto low ground and quickly mine a bunch of minerals, and then every so often lava will actually come up and destroy all your units that are on low ground unless you get out of the mission.
When we moved into this project, we played a lot of StarCraft and a lot of Brood War, looked at the missions, looked at how we told the story, how we introduced the units through the campaign. And we really just kind of started with there. What was fun about the game, and what did we think we could improve on, and what's new we could add to the game.
We have a strong desire to make things new and to try new and interesting things. At the same time, there's a lot of people who want the part of StarCraft they remember to remain the same.
That's one challenge in and of itself, is to make sure that, you know, we're being respectful of lore, we're carrying through the gameplay, and making sure that it's a good entry-level game for a first experience, and then also making sure that it's a skill-based game all the way up to the highest level. That we have esports, and you can compete with it, and you can watch it as a spectator and have a really enjoyable experience as well. So
yeah, it's a lot of work actually integrating the story mode campaign experience into the missions themselves. A lot of the missions rely a lot on the story that's going on. At the same time, the story relies on what's going on in the missions. If we can't develop a fun mechanic around what's going on in the story, we have to change the story.
So yeah, as a designer, our job is to kind of make the game fun. So we get all of the cool features that the programmers make, and we find awesome ways to twist them and make them into something fun to play with.
Fun mission, I think the player is just very clear of what they need to be doing, and they have certain challenges or obstacles that they have to overcome, and the player feels smart about how they go about beating the mission. If we make it too narrow or too defined for the player that this is how you do it, that's not as fun, because then it feels like the player hasn't done anything.
So, I'll get it to a point where I think it's fun and it works for my play style, and then someone else will sit down at the map and they have a completely different play style. So we have to get that person's opinion too, and, is it fun for the turtle guy? Is it fun for the rush guy? And we've got to kind of find that balance between the two.
And then we just play test it a bunch and we iterate over everything. If we don't like something, then we improve it, or we take it out and try something else.
So that's the nice thing, is because, we've got a lot of talented designers here. We all get together and kind of riff on a map instead of one person just going through making the map and then, beating it to heck in the end. We're all kind of collaborative throughout the process. So, I'll think of an idea and I'll be like, hey Huck, what do you think of this idea? And he'll say, dude, that sucks, but it would be cool if you did this. And so we'll, kind of riff on those ideas and get them in the game, polish them up.
StarCraft was one of the first games, I think, that was very successful in esports. It was kind of surprising, I think, when you go back, I don't know, let's say 15 years even before StarCraft, and starting to see, professional gamers that would play games like Quake and would earn money actually playing that game. And when StarCraft rolled around, I think it took it really to the next level, especially overseas in Korea. So with StarCraft 2, we knew we really had to make sure that we supported that community. And we really have taken our time with the multiplayer and with the game balance to make sure that when you make a game that's really going to be considered almost baseball 2.0, we really want to make sure that it lives up to that legacy.
Multiplayer was a really, really huge aspect of StarCraft 1. If anything, I would actually probably say that is the biggest aspect of StarCraft 1. And trying to take that success and transfer into StarCraft 2, obviously first and foremost, we needed to make sure that gameplay is there, that we have the core mechanics of StarCraft 1 of, resourcing, of making units, of queuing and having a food cap, and all those small intricacies of having micromanagement and also having, macro management. And the fact that those two kind of conflict and you need to choose, you have, to explain that a little bit, you have, 1,000 different things you could be doing at any given second, and you only have the mental capacity to do about 500 of them. And, to always have the ability to choose of what you want to do.
So we're having a bit of a Hydralisk balance problem today. We don't see them being made too often in our matches, and they're not very good when you use them.
Yeah, so we first identify the problems, and we try to find the best possible solutions to them. And once we have, then we would play some games, make sure they're the best solutions, and if they're not, then we would restart that process all over again. We try to make as realistic a situation as possible every time we try to balance test any new units or changes.
So I'm just doing the basic build order that a Protoss player will be doing. Basically, the problem with the Hydralisk was mainly against the Protoss race, so we're gonna see if we've alleviated some of the, problem with the Hydralisk being not so useful in an actual game situation.
For the first test, it seems pretty good, but we'll probably tweak some more things, play some more times, and then decide what we're gonna do.
We also usually involve some of the other designers, get their opinions on things, but yeah, it's pretty much if we find a problem, we'll try to identify it and then figure out some fixes and play with it and see if it feels any better.
Yeah, so the team that I work with is the team of designers. Like I mentioned, we have the balance designers, and their job is predominantly just making sure that we have a balanced game. Well, I guess that's pretty obvious, balance designers balance. But their job is just to make sure that, to crunch the numbers, to make sure that we have 3 separate factions that are very distinctive, but also balanced as well.
Keeping units interesting and unique is tricky, especially with 3 races that are completely different. There are certain mechanics that we actually try not to bleed over into different races. We try and focus on one race to help give that race a certain identity.
So in StarCraft 2, we definitely make sure that we have those dynamics. But beyond that, we're bringing you new units. We're taking out some of the older units in StarCraft 1 that either the roles were a little bit soft or that they weren't used as much, and trying to bring some really interesting and cool dynamics. For instance, like a Stalker It's a basic mechanical unit that can shoot ground, it can shoot air. However, it now has the versatility of a blink ability that gives it a short-range teleport. So you can use it kind of offensively and chasing units. You can use it defensively and jumping across chasms, or you know, even if you have vision up a cliff, you can use your guys to bypass someone's entire choke and just move up a cliff, and then you can move around the backside and then surprise them. So there's some really, really cool dynamics.
We're very proud of the work we've done, and we think we've come a long way from the original days when we were first releasing and talking about this game in Korea in 2007. And we think we've really hit a really exceptional experience, and hopefully the fans will agree. When it comes to story mode, when it comes to the campaign, we've got some very unique missions, some very intense storylines, a lot of very exciting moments for these characters, and some really epic battles all over, you know, Dominion space, all over the Korpulu sector, which will hopefully sort of show StarCraft players a vision of the StarCraft universe they've never really seen before. On the multiplayer side, we think we've made a lot of great steps to create an experience that not only harkens to the legacy of the original StarCraft, but also creates a lot of new tactics and a lot of new strategies that will hopefully challenge players, you know, just for years and years to come.